gone past the hour there. That's what happened. Whoops. I'll just wait for people to come back in and get Niq back on. We're having great fun chatting there. Right, Niq, where are you? There you are. So, sorry about that, Niq, but we've gone past now on Instagram, so they cut us off. So we perhaps need to...
Because I was giving you a lecture, I thought you'd cut me off because I was going...
Like, that's it! If you're saying I can't do here next week, right. I'm gone.
Right. More people to come back on and we'll continue this.
Right, so, yeah, so, yeah. So perhaps we'll try not to have this go on for another hour. But we do have a frequently asked questions page on our website. And remembering we are in level 3 right now. We're not level 2 yet, so it's looking at level 2, which will be a little bit less than the level of level 3. And Niq, just touching on what you were saying before, with all, what PPE will look like, and there isn't anything specifically confirmed yet, but with the consultation you've been doing with government and the government agencies, and they've brought in other people, like we've been having meetings, L'Oreal, and then there was the AHC and all of that. It's looking like what we've been talking about so far. So if we could just perhaps touch on the last sort of group of questions, and then we do have a few quick fire questions after that, but okay.
Let me just say at this point, something that's really important about remember level 3, how level 4 was going to level 3 and people, jumped the gun early and they all went out and started doing stuff, and we were reminded, you're actually still in level 4. So just thinking that what it is that we're seeing now, and it's happened to me, is that we're seeing hairdressers on television having, having news, like what are they called? News edits or news items done on them. And so, like, I was asked, can you be at your salon? I'm only 2 kilometres from it. Can you be at your salon by 2:30? Because we want to ask you some questions and we want to film you doing it. So remember, if you're seeing online now, you're seeing on television or on social media that there's a news thing and somebody is actually in their salon, they're probably not working. Don't think, oh, look, let's all go back to our salon. They've just been asked to go there for the news edit, or like some people live, like have their salon at home. So like I noticed Kylie and Nelson from their salon is at their home. So they were actually doing each other's hair for it. When I was down there, they got me to move some furniture, which was the most ridiculous thing to be doing when, a film crew says, this is what it is I want you to do to be a hairdresser. I was like, oh, okay, that's weird. And also tonight on television, I think that somebody pointed out that Jeremy Wells on Channel 1 was saying, oh, that's great, on 7 Sharp and with him and Hillary. Isn't it amazing? So when we go into level 2, I'll be straight in to have my hair cut on Wednesday. Well, of course he won't be, because if it's 48 hours later, it wouldn't be Wednesday anyway, it'd be, like later. So, and later on, instead of actually for everybody that when you say that. So it's kind of just think before everybody, jumps on the telephone and says that Niq at Headspace was, I saw him in his salon and he was on the television as well and we're going to shut him down, or things like that. Okay, so it's not about people already being there. We're still in level 3. We don't know whether we're going to go to level 2 until Tuesday, and we'll find out more what that looks like then, more definite, and then Thursday would be the earliest, but it could be a little bit longer phased in for PPE. Continue.
Yes. Right. Thanks, Niq. So the last sort of group of questions that have mostly popped up is around 70 plus aged clients, and also clients and stylists. I mean, I don't know if there's any stylists in New Zealand that are over 70 that are still practicing. I suspect there's a few. Which I probably know of. I can probably name a couple, but they don't look it. But yes, what about you? The clients and stylists as well that have any immune disorders or health issues, diabetes, heart conditions, anything like that. So what do we know so far about what's been consulted for stylists?
What we know so far is that rather than on the way up, remember they said that anybody that is 70 needs to stay at home, and basically it was blanket, and anybody that has immunocompromised needs to stay at home, and that's it. Then on the way back down, what it is they've said, because you weren't allowed to do your own shopping and everything, but now they're saying that that if you were like in your 70s and you're quite healthy, because this is the big thing, is people have said they're actually really healthy and they get out and they, they're not immune compromised and they're healthy or whatever it is they want to describe it as, that they can get their own groceries. So why do they need to, wait for somebody else to get them? Because there's probably people in their 40s that shouldn't be out doing that. So they've kind of said, okay, if you're in your 70s and you can go out and do that, then maybe we're going to let you do your grocery shopping. What they have said that's interesting for us is that people that are in their 70s that can work and wish to do so can have that conversation with their employer, and they can do it by consultation or by agreement. So you can come to an agreement with your employer on whether it is you're going to do that. So some people, it might be just they work time and that's all they want to do. Others we've actually had contact us and they own their own salon and they love it and they work on the floor full time and they feel like that's what they want to keep doing and they're really good at it and able to do it. So why shouldn't they? So we're saying yes. If you're healthy and you're over 70 and you want to go to work and your employer is saying, yes, we think that's amazing, then yes, you can do that by agreement. Sign it off to say that you both agreed to do it as well, though. Okay. If you're immunocompromised at level 2 and you don't feel like you should be there, because remember, they've also said if you don't think you should be at work, then don't go. Okay. So if you can still do what you're doing from home, stay there. If you can't, go to work. But if you can't go to work, then please don't go. So if you're immunocompromised and at level 2, you might have asthma, but it might only be, I was going to say average asthma, but it might be like asthma that by the time you've got a mask on, you're actually a lot better. So that you might still be able to come to work, for example. It might be that you've only got 50% lung capacity. That's probably like a little bit different. So depending on what it is that you like, and again, that's some conversation you have with your employer. So with clients coming in, we still actually need some clarification on that. So our way that we're thinking at the moment, though, is that, if somebody is able to go to the supermarket and they're over 70s and they're healthy and they're able to do that, maybe they should be able to look at doing a similar kind of thing when it comes into the salon. So how is it that we would look at that to get them as safe as we possibly can when they're in salon? So we think about when is it that a salon isn't really busy, so there's not lots of people in there? When is it that it's the cleanest? So first thing in the morning, we've just finished doing our big clean and everything is absolutely amazing. Maybe that, if we can, is a good time for 70-year-olds to come in that are healthy and really want their hair done before the main group of our people have come in. So otherwise, if we get somebody first thing in the morning that seems like they're really healthy but have actually contracted COVID, and then you have 15 clients for the day and your last client of the day is your 70-year-old, then it might not be so good that you've had that many people coming through the salon space. So we're not saying that's happening, please, not happening, but thinking if we are, how is it that we're going to do that? So it might be that you roster yourself to be thinking that's what you were going to do. So if it was me and it's my salon, for example, I don't work Sundays and I don't work Mondays. So I haven't got clients already booked there anyway. So what I would probably think to myself is, when am I going to get them in? I'm going to do them on a Sunday morning and a Monday morning. I'll do them for the first 4 hours of the day. I'll go in there myself and do it. There may be one other staff member working. So there's only 2 staff. There's like 4 clients in the whole salon space. And, it's been cleaned first thing. And so the likelihood that anything is going to be, unsanitary or that there's going to be lots of people there is really, really, really low. So we're saying, how can we mitigate the risk of something happening? And so that's what it is that we're saying, is remember, we have to act safe. Okay?
Yes, absolutely. And making it easy for that making it easy for that contact tracing and all that as well. So that's for clients and staff really as well.
So
Not
really
forgetting perhaps enforcing some PPE around both clients and, well, obviously for staff, but perhaps enforcing it as well for those clients.
Exactly. So I guess some of the stuff as well that that we're thinking about is, it really is, how can we do this as safely as we possibly can? So if we're saying, okay, we're doing it, like we have a seniors day, and somebody put that up, they have a day where only seniors come in.
Yeah.
Or, like I said, it's in the mornings, or it's a day that is a little bit quieter. We're wearing PPE, they're wearing a mask, to come in. Then we're actually limiting the amount of contact that we're having with that person, and that person's having with everybody else. That's got to be our full.
Yeah. Yeah. And just on that note, we've got a few comments coming up about using cash in the salon, and also a lot of older people using cash. And so I guess that would come back to the recommendation around perhaps having one person at the reception desk handling things, and if you can't, well, I guess it'd be sanitising in between handling any cash, perhaps wiping your coins down every morning, and the inside of the till.
If somebody's giving you notes and they're giving you, it'd be nice if they gave you like 5 $100 notes. But anyway,
that'd be great, and they don't want change.
yeah, and I'd like $400 change, please. But if they give you the notes, remember they're plasticky kind of stuff anyway, so spray them down with sanitizer, wipe them down with alcohol wipes. The person can leave them sitting on the counter so they don't touch them to start off with, and maybe do that. So, it's kind of thinking, if we do get cash, what are we going to do about it? Or it might be that, we've done the opposite way around, where we've asked some people to prepay for their haircuts, before they've come in to have it done. It might be that those, and I'm thinking that the clients you're going to have that are coming in that are in their 70s are really regular. You love them to bits, they're like your grandma. And so, you really wanted to, you really want them to be able to come into the salon space. So maybe you say to them, actually, please, we know that you don't use FPOS and all the rest of it. So rather than paying this time when you're in, fix us up next time. It might be an opportunity to do that instead, okay? Or, they might do online banking. My mum does online banking, and she's in her 70s, so she might be able to do that. Then again, I know people that are in their 30s can't do it. So, it's just kind of like, I think it's sort of thinking about how it is that you're going to do that.
Absolutely. And just while we're in that theme, another sort of group around there is services that we can do in salons. So pretty much most services that we do in barbershops and salons, as long as we're being the appropriate PPE gear, which will all be confirmed as soon as possible, hopefully Monday, it should be fine.
So one of the things, one of the things that we looked at was that we wanted to go back to full service. It needed to be full service. So, and people go, oh, what's full service? And it's like, we didn't want to be told that you could do colour work as long as it was under an hour and a half. You could do a tint retouch and you could do a blow dry, but you're not allowed to cut the hair. Or you're allowed to do a cut and blow dry, but you're not allowed to colour at all. Or, we've had questions about, so we can't do base and balayage because I'm going to have to be there for, 40 minutes with the client. It's like, we didn't want to say you can go back, but then there's lots of restrictions on it. What we said was that if we're going back to work, we want to go back in one go. We want to be full service. We want to make sure that we can keep ourselves safe, our clients safe, our staff safe, and of course, the communities that we're going out into safe as well. So we're saying, yes, you can do full service. You can do the whole lot. Yes, that person might be in the salon for 4 hours or 5 hours. Maybe if that's what it is they haven't done, they might have, normally have a bleach and tone or whatever, and they're going to have a double regrowth, so they might be there all day. But if they're there and you're working on them all day, in some ways that's kind of like, well, you actually only got one client. So, for the morning maybe, and then one client in the afternoon, that's what it is. You're still making the same turnover that you would. The person that's sitting in the seat, reduced amount of people coming through the salon. So we didn't want to say you're only allowed to have 3 people in the salon at one time. Or because one of the concerns was that when they dropped the levels down, that they'd keep the amount of people that could be in one place the same. Remember, it was 10. So, it's kind of like, oh my God, what are we going to do if at level 3 it's 10 people and at level 2 it's only 10 people that are allowed inside and outside, but it's 100. Yeah. So we don't want to just sell on with 100 people. That mentioned tonight, they said, when they were talking about it, they said, and they're saying the most amount of people that you can have in somewhere is like 100 people, but we don't want you stuffing your venue with more people than you can actually fit in it.
Right.
Just at that level. So, what we might think those restrictions that we've got sound really restrictive, they're not really. We've just got to work our way around it a little bit more. When we think of some of the other industries that we work with, like hospitality, for example, they have to come up with the 3 S's, that all their patrons have to be seated, so they're not allowed to be, like some of the food hall places that you have to be able to seat it. They have to be separate, so there's enough distance at the tables, and they have to be serviced at the table. So malls, for straight away, you can't sit in a food court because they can't do single service. So, for us, we're actually really lucky that we can open full service. We can do a wide range of what it is we normally do. We just need to be able to take a little bit more care. Yeah.
Well said, Niq. Thank you. I'd just like to point out the awesome comment that I've just pinned here from, sorry, I'm not sure what your name is, but your Instagram name is Seed4045, and that's, can I just say I went through 6 rounds of chemo, immunity was trashed. I worked all the way through, clients were great, wore a mask and washed hands, never got sick. So I guess that really shows if we are wearing the appropriate PPE and using it appropriately and filtering all these practices through our salons and shops, then we should be safe and our clients should be safe.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. And kind of, I guess some of it is that, I remember when I first went to the supermarket and I wore a mask because that's just me, I think, because I am actually in my little bubble, and I don't want to make, I don't want to make sure that I can get back to work. So for me, I wore a mask. The first couple of times I wore it, I thought, oh my God, people are going to be staring at me. It's going to be ridiculous. But the more it went on and the more people that started wearing it, the less people stared. So to start off with, it might seem weird that we're going to work and that we're wearing masks, or our clients might go, oh, that seems a little bit bizarre. But remember, when they come in and everybody else is already doing it, it becomes the new normal. When I first went over to international work and judging international competitions, all the European and Asian countries all wore masks. All these kids that were doing all the work, they were actually working on mannequin heads, but they were still, so that they weren't breathing in the chemicals, they weren't breathing in the hair, they all wore masks. They worked, and I kind of thought, oh, that's really weird, as they got their safety glasses out and put them on as well. So, we haven't got restrictions that are that much. Like in Germany, in Germany, I think it's, if you're not wearing your mask and you're caught not wearing it, it's a $5,000 fine. So, we're not doing that. We're saying, we have to have appropriate gear to do our full services that we do in Salon.
That's great, Niq. That's probably a great place to sort of round off. We do have some quick fire questions.
Sorry,
do we want to...
You saying finish as quickly as I can with the fire?
Do we want to run through just a couple of those, perhaps that we haven't touched on?
When they have the chase and they ask the questions and the person comes along and is it like
yes. You've only got a certain amount of time. I'm sure some of these people need to get to bed. There's been so many people posting comments. Thanks, guys, so much. It's really great to hear your comments and have your engagement with all of this, and just keep the questions coming. We're here. That's what we need. We need to know what you guys want to know. So if I can just go through a couple of these questions, Niq. I'll start with the first one on our little list here. Does everyone need to be reinducted to the Salon?
Yes, they do. So I would recommend that reinduction happens first like this. Okay, so I've got my team to watch tonight, so that then they can ask any extra questions they need to later. We'll have a meeting like this together, or a Zoom meeting, or whatever it is that we're going to do, so we can ask those extra questions, work out what it is that we're going to do, and then remember, we're going to be given 48 hours notice of that going back to work and whether that is a phase in to be able to get our businesses ready. So that's the opportunity for us then to go into our salon spaces, to do some training with the team, to move things where it is they might need to be moved to. Give some people, like if you've got an apprentice and they're normally doing all the basin work, so remember those base things at the basin you're coming into contact with need to be wiped down. So give them that task. How is it that you're going to meet the things that you need to within that space? If it's someone that is normally doing the reception, what process are you going to take within the reception area, because you can't do it any other way? What are you going to do for those different things? So it's about getting your team involved, letting them know what it is that's going to happen for that induction when you go back to work. So remember, we're excited about it. As business owners, we're thinking, yay, at last we can actually get some money in and we can pay some bills and get back to normal. We're excited about it.
We are.
Staff
Yeah.
A bit worried about it. They won't know what it is that's going to happen. It's all new for them, and we can't expect them to same level of excitement because they're not us. We don't know how it is that they're feeling. So they might be dropping kids off at school. They might be leaving loved ones at home. They might have to go back to work. They haven't got any other option to do that. So, it's just kind of thing, letting your team know that, doing the induction like this first so they can ask all those questions. You can come up with a formula together, and then you can go, you can go into your salon space and do that there.
Awesome, Nick. Thank you. A few comments come out there. I just saw Claudette from Gisborne. Hi, Claudette. So I'm just going to touch on this question real quick, and that is, how will you manage an exposure or suspected exposure to COVID-19?
Okay, so that sounds like it's really deep, and it is, because that's one of the questions that we were asked as an industry. So if you do this yourself and you get audited, that's what it is they ask you beforehand. So they say, how are you going to do this? How's it going to be? So we've done that work for you, for the industry. We've said this is what it is we think you should do, and it's getting accredited. So,
with WorkSafe.
Yeah, WorkSafe. Yeah. So
if we're doing it, we should have it back soon, hopefully.
Exactly. So the thing with that is that there's actually like a little step process that you go through. So you have to isolate the person, you have to put them in a room by themselves, everything that they've come into contact with. You're ringing the helpline, you're getting all the things ready for contact tracing, everybody that might have come into contact with, people that might have come into contact with during the day. So there's a whole isolation process that goes with that and what it is that you do at that point. There's also, if your business is shut down, what it is that you're going to do at that point. So we might talk about that, we might not.
We probably will cover a bit more of that when we do another Niq and Pip Q&A show, when we know that we're heading out of level 2, perhaps. We might cover a bit more, or when we know we're in level 2, when we're going into it and what the confirmed things are, we might need to do another little Q&A session there. So we'll probably sign off about now. I will refer back to the frequently asked questions page, and we will potentially be updating that with a few more things very soon. That's just under the information tab on the website. And also, I'd just like to lead on to the online shop, where we do have some great sanitizer readily available, masks, and quite a few other things that we recommend and have checked out the standard of, and that's all on our online shop. So that's just under the shop tab at nzhairdressing.org.nz. And also, Niq, we've got a very exciting virtual education session with the Jordan Thomas from GHD, Education Executive for Australia and New Zealand, and he's doing a session just for our lovely members. There's still time to register tonight. It's on at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, and it's through Zoom. So if you're a member and you register by the end of tonight, then you'll get a wee email tomorrow morning with the link and be able to join in. Pretty exciting.
So just remember to follow us online as well, because as we said, we want to make sure that everybody's got the right information. We want to make sure that it gets out there really easily, and it's easy to be able to go back and have a look at this later. You can watch it on YouTube. This is for everybody, because remember, it's not just us that needs to know. We're educating our members, hairdressers, barbers, all of the salons out in New Zealand, but also the public, because the public need to know what it is that's happening. So by following us here, it's a little bit easier for us to get that information out. Okay.
Yeah, and it does change quite quickly. And both these stories hopefully will be available for the next 24 hours. I might need to check that. We've been trying to keep those recorded and loaded up onto YouTube. So and they'll be available then through our website as well after that. Awesome. Hey, cool. Thanks everyone for watching, and thanks Niq so much, and see you next time. Cheers. Bye everyone.